Hello and welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Barrett McDonald, and I'm joined today by Sean and Sarah from Dashboard Marketing. I'd like to thank the two of you so much for joining us today. Would you like to start it off with telling us a little bit about who you are and what your company does?
Yeah, sure, Barrett. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So Sean and I are the co-founders of Dashboard Marketing. We're a boutique marketing shop here in Halifax. And we offer a lot of different services to our clients, from marketing planning to brand development, market research, social media. But the benefit that we offer is that it's just Sean and I in terms of stakeholders in the company. And then we work with a network of freelancers from across Canada and the US to deliver on our clients' needs. So we kind of can curate a really cool team to work on the projects that are required for our clients. And we're also life partners and business partners. So we get comments from our friends all the time about how we can work together, but somehow we're making it work.
Yeah, no, it's been working well, I founded the company 17 years ago. And Sarah joined the company about 8-9 years ago, and we repositioned it as Dashboard Marketing. One of the other services we also add is an offer to quite a few clients is a fractional chief marketing or VP of marketing type of role. So when we work with clients, they'll usually kind of engage us to develop a marketing strategy and kind of map out what that marketing plan is. But they often don't have that senior leadership to kind of push it forward. So we'll step in, say 2 days a week, lead the department, sometimes hire people, bring on outside suppliers or partners to kind of work and execute on that strategy, and then step out because we ultimately want to work ourselves out of a job.
Absolutely. So when you think back over the last 17 years, and now that you've been onboarding and having different levels of employers or subcontractors, and you're getting to peek under the hood of some other business owners' setups and everything, what would you say have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you started in business?
I know one of the things I look back now, I should have incorporated sooner. I started the business and then 3 years later incorporated. I think it's worthwhile for any kind of new business in that regards to incorporate sooner. There's just a lot of benefits. I guess the other one I'd say is to kind of not limit yourself. The really cool thing about, we're based in Halifax, but our clients are all across Canada. We work with organizations in the States. We've got market scope with certain clients that it's worldwide. So there's really never limit yourself on kind of scope and where the business is. Halifax is an awesome place to live, but it shouldn't be the only place you do business. So I find a lot of business owners kind of think a bit too small and limit kind of the scope and the market opportunity in front of them. And that's, I started off with a couple local clients and didn't limit myself. And I always kind of talk to folks we work with that say, and tell them, let's go broader than you think, because there is market potential out there.
So
I think for me, one big thing from learning over even my corporate jobs before and then working together is trusting your gut. Like that for me, I don't know if it's like the female intuition or what, but definitely trusting my gut or our gut. There's lots of times we're talking about something and, I just don't have a good feeling about it. And some of those things have ended up, it's good that we trusted our gut for certain situations. So that's definitely a big one for me.
And that actually feeds into, we've had to say no to certain potential work or resign certain clients. And that's something actually I say to my clients is it's okay to say no. It's okay to say, sorry, you're just not the right fit. And it often comes back to the gut saying, you know what, it just doesn't feel right. And being okay that's the decision you have to make.
yeah, absolutely. So when you think about your onboarding, your subcontractors, we'll call them, what are the qualities that you kind of look for in them, and what are some of the things that you do to like keep those lines of communication open and positive?
I know with myself, like when we bring on something, they've got to have kind of a certain sense of entrepreneurial spirit. It really is interesting to see those that we've worked with that are truly have a skin in the game. They're committed. They've got kind of that eat what you kill type of mentality. Because our dynamics different in the sense that we don't have employees. We work with these freelancers and independents, so they're other independent businesses. And having that same mindset and making sure that that mindset is aligned between us and them. Also, expectations. I'm pretty clear up front that we would white label them, that they would step in under dashboard marketing, but they are still their own business. And some folks that they can't, they're not up for that. So it's good to have that kind of conversation up at the start. And I totally respect their decision in saying no, that just doesn't work. But we also do want to celebrate those that we work with. So recognizing that we are employing a whole bunch of other small and independent businesses, we love that model. That's kind of why we have done that from the start.
Yeah, and I think also because we're kind of a family-run business, we really like to work with people that feel like they would be part of, outside of the office, that we would still want to hang out with them, kind of thing.
Right.
And just having that sort of more familiarity and knowing that they would be working with our clients, and just having a nice, professional but yet engaging and fun and kind of fit within our core values as a company, which is kind of funny because that's always what we tell our clients when they're trying to hire folks, is it all comes back to your core values. So
Absolutely.
making sure that you're hiring people that fit is really important.
Yeah, and there's a way to do that without hindering on anyone's ability to be an individual.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
for sure.
Which makes it good. So what would you attribute your growth to?
One of the funniest things, because I'm originally from Ontario, Sarah's from Newfoundland. We moved here 20 years ago. And when we moved here, it was very much, it was who you knew, who's your father, who's your family, like that, really, where you come from. And it was intimidating coming from away. But we worked in situations that kind of set us up for success. We got connected to the community. So it really locally has been about the network, and the word of mouth and referrals. And a lot of our business has come through that. We don't usually reply to requests for proposals. We just don't see that as a good way to kind of generate new business. We reach out to people that we've worked with in the past. We've got some long-standing clients that, a couple of them have been with us for over 10, almost 15 years. So they're just repeat businesses, and they themselves have introduced us to other people to do work for them. So it's been really nice, that personal connection. And also Sarah and I, fortunately, we've worked with organizations that have a national scope. So we have resources and clients and networks kind of across the country and into the States. So it's been nice to be able to tap into those and not, like I said earlier, not be totally reliant on business in Atlantic Canada.
I think also, just to your point around some of the clients that we've had for so long, that we really make it a point to be part of our client's business.
Yeah.
So I hate those scenarios where somebody would want, just, can you come and do this project and then we're done. It's like, nah, we really, really need to be part of your business in order to help you successfully and help you drive that growth and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's where our growth has come from, is that we're not kind of in and out, or we really like to kind of maintain that relationship and be part of a business.
Yeah, and back to a description around our company, that's why the kind of the fractional chief marketing officer, arrangement really works well for certain companies, because not only do they get that senior leadership from a marketing point of view, but we're also personally invested in the success of the company. We work for that company. We have an email address. We sometimes work on site. We're tapped into their sales network, their operations, their production lines, whatever the kind of mechanics of the business are. So we're part of that team, and we really do feel, a real connection to our clients that way, and a real loyalty to them, because we are literally part of that team.
Absolutely. So when you think about the last 17, 18 years, I mean, you touched on one point, but if you had to start all over again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, that's, it was interesting thinking about that before we jumped on here, and there have been some ups and downs. Like any business, there's always ups and downs, but I feel we've done a pretty good job. I think for me personally, I would like to have had Sarah join the business sooner. She was kind of a silent partner in the background, and she did her own kind of entrepreneurial shtick for a bit with some other businesses she launched and went forward with. But I think, that kind of alignment between us is very good. We bring different strengths to the table. So it would have been interesting to see how the business could have grown sooner if she was in the mix sooner. That was one thought I had, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one. It's sort of, you learn from your mistakes, you learn from that. So it's not as if I'd go back to change a lot of things. We definitely had some times where we learned, where we didn't trust our gut and learned. And then we take that with us, kind of remember that time that this happened. Let's not make sure that doesn't happen again. So yeah, I think that would be kind of it. I never like to look back and kind of have any, oh, I wish we did this. But yeah, joining the company sooner would have been fun.
Yep.
Absolutely. So this is going to be a big one for you two to answer is how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business? And what's that wall look
it's
like?
an interesting, because when Sarah, because it was quite funny when she did join the company, she pitched me on joining the business. So she had kind of the pros and the cons, and here's how we would do it. And put the kind of the formal pitch in place. And one of the conversations we had was, okay, we cannot talk about business all the time. We are married, we've got kids, we've got a life that is personal versus professional. So we've kind of done an okay job with that, but kind of not. Because even when we go for a drink on a Friday night, we'll still, oh, did you see that email from so-and-so? So it comes in, but I think it really is important for key times for us just to not talk about work, is to have that personal time with each other, and also when we're with our kids too, not to sit there talking about work in front of them, because they're going to roll their eyes and go, okay, you guys are always talking about work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think also just in general, aside from us being business partners and married, just making sure that we have time. Like Sean goes to yoga twice a week, 3 times a week. My kids and I go to the gym, like just getting obviously some of that personal time that isn't work related. And I don't know, I really like to read. I can't go to bed at night unless I read. Even if it's late, I'll still read. But I'm so drawn sometimes to always want to read a business book, but I'm like, no, just read a novel and kind of that little, some time to just chill. So yeah.
Because it's always challenging with our industry. We have to try and keep up with everything going on in the marketing, customer understanding, consumer behavior, brand, all that. So much is happening and changing in that sector. So we're always consuming information that way, be it podcasts or reading on things on YouTube or it's third-party kind of resources. So yeah, you kind of need to switch that off sometimes and not read something or consume something or watch something that is business related.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to let yourself recharge the battery.
Exactly.
And then run off the battery for an indefinite amount of time until you need to charge it again.
Yeah,
which makes it good.
and actually, that's a really good point. I know from more recently, I guess through COVID, and I think a lot of business owners would probably say this, and entrepreneurs is respecting your time. There's work time, and then there's lifetime. And I work with a lot of startups, and it's all about hustle, and it's all about committing time and energy to grow the business. But one thing that's changed, I think, with our mindset is we need some non-business time. So we're not available for meetings on certain days. We're not going to work on the weekends. We're not going to take a call after 6 o'clock, unless, the dynamics are unique with, say, a client that's doing work internationally. But for the most part, we are now more strict than we used to be.
Yeah.
So I'd say that maybe one thing, back to your earlier question, is from the start, is to kind of start with that mindset from the start. Because I was taking calls at 8 o'clock at night and working until 5 o'clock on a Friday. And it's kind of like, well, you don't really need to do that now.
Yeah, absolutely. Being purposeful with your time is a key, right?
Yeah.
And both for personal and professional, like it has to be purposeful.
Yeah.
And I think even in some of these fractional roles, when we are in a business, there's, definitely times where we feel that there's definitely meetings for the sake of having meetings. So does everybody really need to be in that room? Do we all need to have this hour-long meeting? Can it not be solved by an email? Those kinds of things that are really big time sucks on people. So, that's another, not necessarily for us, but in general in the work world, it seems that everyone's just meetinged out.
Yeah, and
Right.
strangely enough, with COVID and shifting to kind of the virtual way of doing business, we were already a virtual business. We have been from the start. So it wasn't a big shift for us, but it was nice to see people's mindset shift to that we don't have to have a meeting for the sake of the meeting, in person. We can do it on Zoom or Google or whatever it might be, and be more efficient with our time and walking into that meeting with, here's 5 things we need to talk about, and let's have it half an hour instead of an hour. And so there's been some improvements definitely with those we work with, where it's just productivity has gone up and efficiency and use of time is improved. And it's been great because we were already there. It wasn't a big dramatic change like a lot of other companies and organizations.
Well, it's good. You've been able to advise with experience in those scenarios,
Yeah.
which is a good place to come from. So
Yeah.
last question, going a little bit off script. For anyone that might be watching this series who's thinking about jumping on the entrepreneurial train, what kind of advice do you have for them?
I'd first say do it. Yeah, exactly. Like, we talk to a lot of people that, their business is a part-time business. They've got a
Side
full-time
hustle.
thing, a side hustle, which is awesome because there's a lot of recent studies around that saying that you should have a side hustle. But if you've got something that is there's potential, you've done the market research, you've scoped it out, do it, because it's the toughest thing to do, is to make that step. And when I launched the business, I guess luckily I got let go from the company I was with before, so it pushed me into it.
Yeah.
But for those that are kind of on the line, do it, because even we've got somebody that works with us quite a bit on a number of clients. We kind of pushed him to do it because we said, we have a whack load of business for you. Set yourself up and we'll keep you busy. And he did it, and he's loving it. He's loving being his own business owner and an entrepreneur. So I think, yeah, that's the biggest suggestion, is just do it.
Especially because I left my corporate, like I actually quit my corporate job I had some side hustles and then eventually joined Dashboard. But in that lead up to quitting my corporate job, it was just every day I was talking to different people and that hesitancy towards doing it. And then it's sort of, you can always go back, but nobody I know that's done that has ever gone back.
No.
Right.
Every entrepreneur we meet, it's like, even if they're going through the grind and whatever, they would never go back in that way, from what we can tell anyway. So
and there's a lot of support. I found it interesting from 17 years ago to today. When I went live with the business, there was really kind of one area that I could physically go to and talk to other entrepreneurs and get some support. Very informal. But now there's so much more support for startups, for entrepreneurs, for anybody looking to make the move, which is so nice to see. And be it, if you want to focus on ocean tech, if you want to focus in on, IoT, other areas, there's so much of that support in the region, and they're now a lot more connected. So yeah, that's the other great thing, that if you are going to start a business now, there's a lot more support than there was 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Well, Sean and Sarah, thank you so much for your time today. And for everyone who's watching our series at home, I look forward to our next episode.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.